Dr. Shirazi, a board certified dermatologist, and today I want to talk to you about spring break skin tips because I know a lot of you guys are probably going to warm, maybe humid climates, the beaches, the waters, maybe a rainforest. So I wanted to tell you a few tips to keep your skin looking good and glowing and radiant and safe and healthy. But before we get started, don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe and comment below. Okay, so first things first, sun safety, because a lot of us are going to be traveling to sunny, warm climates, and it's so important to protect your skin, and I cannot stress this enough. Not only to keep it healthy and prevent skin cancer down the line, but also to keep it looking clean and smooth and as youthful as possible, because as you guys know, UV radiation is so damaging to our skin. It really degrades our collagen, our elastin, makes our pores bigger, gives us blotchy skin. So really important to protect it because it's gonna represent you your whole life. A lot of us think when we're young, we're never gonna get big pores or growths or wrinkles or skin cancer, but as time goes on, you don't want to have any regrets. So generally I recommend a broad spectrum sunscreen with at least this SPF 30 or higher. Really the best sunscreen is the one you like to wear. So try different ones, whether it's a gel, a heavy cream, one that rubs in. Now the physical blockers, those that have zinc and titanium, they tend to be less irritating. So if you have sensitive skin, it tends to be better for sensitive skin. They also block off a lot of the UV rays, so UVA and UVB, and that's what I mean when I say broad spectrum. Now the downside is a lot of times they don't rub in very well, they leave kind of a white paste that people don't like. If you look for some of the new ones with micronized zinc, they use this nanotechnology that makes it really small, the particles really small, so it rubs in better, it doesn't leave a white cast. But you know what, it's fine to use the chemical blockers too, like avobenzone, oxybenzone, PABA. Those tend to rub in better and people like the feel of them. I personally love Hydratant BB SPF 44 because it's kind of an all-in-one. It's a moisturizer, it gives me a little coverage, and it has zinc and titanium in it. A lot of my patients also love Elta MD UV Clear. La Roche-Posay has some really great ones with Mexeril, anywhere from SPF 60 to 100. And you really need SPF 30 or higher if you use enough sunscreen. Now, if you're one of those, like a Gwyneth Paltrow, where you just kind of dab a little bit here and there, then you might want to go for a higher number, because higher numbers give you more protection if you're not using enough sunscreen. So ideally, you need 2 finger lengths for the face and neck. If you're covering the entire body for exposed areas, the recommendation is a shot glass of sunscreen. You want to make sure you apply it 15 to 20 minutes before you get out there. So don't wait till you get, in the sun to apply it and then jump right in the water, because you might just wash it off. Speaking of, if you're in the water snorkeling, you really do need to reapply it every hour and a half to 2 hours, because it really comes off very easily. A lot of people forget to do this, and this is why I see the most number of sunburns in the springtime, especially if you're going on spring break, because our skin's been covered all winter and the UV index is now way higher than it was, and we're all of a sudden exposing ourselves to UV radiation, especially if you're going down in the tropics where days are much longer, UV index is much higher, you're closer to the equator, then you will burn. And I don't want that to happen to you, because I do see so many people coming in with regret of their spring break, or ruining their spring break because they got a sunburn. And remember, just because it's cloudy outside, just because it's like raining, especially if you're in tropics, doesn't mean that is protecting you from the sun, because there's still UV rays all day long, despite clouds, despite rain. So make sure you are protecting yourself even under those circumstances. So something I usually encourage people to do is buy UV shirts, because they're so easy, especially if you're snorkeling, you're in the water. I see a lot of sunburns on the back. It just takes the guesswork out. If you need to remind yourself, I like to set a timer on my iPhone to remind me, and I love using powder brushes. So my favorite is the AziMD tinted powder SPF 50, and it gives me a little coverage. Also, it absorbs sweat and oil and moisture from the skin, so it's a really easy way to reapply, at least on the face. Now the sprays are also really great, especially if you're active, and they make it very convenient to reapply on the legs, the back, hard to reach places. I don't recommend you spray them in the face because they can really be irritating to the lungs, to the airway system, and they can be irritating to the eyes. If you're going to use a spray for your whole body, including the face, put it on your hands first and then apply it to the face. While we're talking about sun protection, do not forget the lips. The lips are much more prone to sun damage because of their location, but also that skin is much thinner. And not only do we see a lot of skin cancers on the lower lip, you do not want to have that cut off. It is not fun at all. So make sure that you are using a lip balm with an SPF 30 or higher. You don't also want to thin out your lips and get those lip lines and end up getting damaged skin there. So let's say you didn't watch this YouTube video and you didn't protect yourself from the sun. Everyone makes mistakes, and now you have a severe sunburn. Okay, what do you do in that situation? Well, it depends on the stage. So if you have a fresh sunburn and it's red and it's hot and it's uncomfortable and painful, you want to cool the skin. I saw somebody on TikTok like literally wrapping their leg that's sunburned. Do not do that. You want to wear loose clothing, take a cool bath, and really just let the heat dissipate. And because you're going to have a lot of heat dissipation, you're also going to get dehydrated. So make sure that you are drinking plenty of fluids. And I'm not talking about margaritas here. I'm talking about water, Gatorade. You want to hydrate. And if you get a blister, do not, I repeat, do not pop it. Why? Because blisters act as a natural dressing for that wound. And if you unroof it or pop it, you're going to expose a deep skin wound, and nature has the best dressing. You're never going to be able to replicate that blister as the dressing. So protect the blister, don't pop it, cool the skin, and then use cold aloe vera gel. You can put the aloe vera gel on ice or put it in the refrigerator and apply it to the skin cold. You don't want to use any heavy ointments or balms in the first few days when you're red and hot. You want to use more lighter formulation. I also love Soothe HC with aloe and a cortisone. It cuts down the inflammation right away and reduces redness and the pain of sunburns, and it really helps them heal faster. So the first 3 days especially, use the Soothe HC several times a day and wear loose clothing. And then once the skin starts to peel, it starts to get dry and itchy, then you want to use a heavy ointment. Not at the beginning, but once the inflammation redness goes away and it starts to peel. You want to use things like Aquaphor or CeraVe Healing Ointment, or just plain Vaseline. What that will do is it will form a protective coating on the skin. It prevents the transepidermal water loss, it hydrates the skin, and allows the skin to self-repair by protecting the surface. So that's in the later stages. So ibuprofen in the early stages, every 6 hours, also really helps with reducing inflammation and pain from sunburns. The other thing that happens is a lot of times, especially women, we wear those shiny lip glosses and we're outdoors and it doesn't have SPF in it. Well, that's like sitting out and rubbing yourself with baby oil and sunbathing on the lips, because the shine from the gloss actually magnifies the UV rays and enhances the damage. So if you are going to be wearing gloss, make sure it has SPF in it. Aquaphor has a great one with SPF 30, so does Vaseline. I personally love the Lip Plump 30, which is a lip plumper. It's a clear gloss that I wear over just with a little lip liner for a very natural nude look. I love that. You can reapply it every 2 hours. It plumps up and hydrates your lips. It has hyaluronic acid, and it's just made with a little natural peppermint to cause your lips to swell just a little bit, for that like perfect pout. But there's a lot of other lip balms on the market. Burt's Bees has one with SPF. So make sure that you protect the lips And the ears and the scalp, ladies, part line, and then men, the top of the scalp gets so much UV damage, and later in life we see a lot of skin cancer because if you think about it, it's just direct, unshielded sun. And a lot of people never think to put sunscreen there, especially if you're thinning a little bit up there. Make sure you protect it. Obviously, a hat with UPF 50 or higher is ideal. But you know, they do make the spray sunscreens and the gels if you can't wear a hat. Okay, so I'm just dreaming of a Caribbean vacation where I'm sitting on the beach in the water and sipping on a margarita. What could be wrong? What could go wrong in that situation? Well, if you're a dermatologist, then phytophotodermatitis is what could be going wrong. And what does that mean? Phyto means plant, photo means light, sunlight. Dermatitis means skin inflammation. So if you are handling citrus or certain oils or things like, you know, lime, lemon, oranges, and you're in the direct sun, if you get that juice on your skin, you will cause a burn. And so you might look down while you're sipping your margarita and you have some little dots on the back of your hands, or you're doing some tequila shots on spring break and you notice some redness to your skin there. Well, guess what? That redness will start to itch and it might actually start to burn in a few days if you notice it turn brown. Or even I've seen it blister. I see this a lot. People come back from spring breaks and they have streaks or they have patches. I've even seen it where there's like a handprint on the body from the juice that then gets exposed to sun. And if that happens, you really need to use a prescription to stop that reaction. Otherwise, it can be quite severe. And the pigmentation can actually last for quite a while, sometimes months. But if you notice this when you're on a trip and you don't have access to a dermatologist, then you can send us a photo. We do have a photo consult option and it's a pretty quick turnaround. And we can send prescriptions. The link is in the caption, so check it out. So what do? Let's say you watch this YouTube video and you are very well versed in phytophotodermatitis. Well, first things first, you need to wash it off right away, because if it sits on your skin and you're in the sun, wash it off with soap and water, dry it, apply some sunscreen. And lastly, where there is hot and humid weather, there are bugs. Yes, I'm talking mosquitoes, flies. It's springtime, there's a lot of flowers blooming, and with that comes bug bites. And it's so interesting because some people get bitten by a bug and nothing happens, there's no reaction. And some people get such a huge amount of inflammation surge, they get red, they get itchy, they can even blister from bug bites. So most important thing, control the inflammation. And number two, do not pick, do not scratch, because you can end up with what's called a dermatofibroma. And these are very common on the arms and legs. You may actually have them if you check your skin. They're hard, they're sort of embedded in the skin. Sometimes they're dark, they can be dome shaped and smooth, almost like a scar. And a lot of times they're from bug bites that people pick at or scratch because they can be intensely itchy. So what do? For first things first, prevention. Use a spray with DEET. And that helps repel insects and bugs and prevents the bite in the first place. And number two, treat the bug bite ASAP so you don't scratch. Use ice because cooling it down helps with these itching. That sensation of itching can be so intense that you want to scratch your skin until it bleeds. I know we've all been there. But use an over-the-counter called Soothe HC. I'll link it below. And that has aloe in it. It also has hydrocortisone, which stops the itch and inflammation right away. And you know what I do? I take it with me on all my trips because you never know. I apply a glob of it, then I put a Band-Aid on top, and I do that like 3 or 4 times a day, and it literally works like magic in a few days. Not only do I not scratch it, but it just relieves the symptoms so fast, and it doesn't leave a mark, because a lot of times they can leave almost like a stain behind. All right guys, I hope that was helpful and made you more prepared for your spring break adventure, and you go and have a great time and come back with glowing skin. Not a suntan though guys, unless it's by accident, which you know, no matter how much sunscreen you wear, you're still gonna get UV rays. It's not gonna block all of them. So some degree of tanning will be inevitable, but you can protect yourself as much as you can, because tanning means UV radiation, which means reducing your collagen and elastin. So you gotta preserve what you have, guys. Get a spray tan. Until next time, comment below, let me know what you wanna hear.